Hello. Today we're talking about clinical interviews and also about treatment planning. So, we know that for one thing, when we're talking to individuals in a clinical setting, we're doing an interview, it's very important how we build that rapport. So we have a lot of contact with our clients over the whole treatment episode. Each one of those contacts gives us opportunities for lots and lots of information gathering. And that's what we're trying to do, because the more information we have, the better job we can do to make their treatment experience individualized and specific to their needs. So we want to take advantage of that. So clinical interviewing is that thread that binds an entire episode together, and that's what we are talking about today. In your handout, The Clinician's Guide to Treatment Plans, I'd like for you to review the first few pages, go through that so that you have a basic understanding of what we're talking about today. Okay, so what we're looking for is the ability to increase our skills to the level that we have a clear focus about what the client's needs are. Okay. We look at this interview as like a conversation with a purpose, as the handout, the guide tells us. A conversation with a purpose. So when conversation has no real central theme, the participants' roles are not defined. So we're looking to define those roles and provide that clear purpose. So what we hope to do is to learn how to sharpen our interviewing skills. We want to build an alliance with the client and greatly improve the client's treatments. So the relationship is extremely important. Over a series of interviews we begin to develop a perception about what the problems and the issues are. So we're going to talk about what are some of the things that are very important. Well, what are the clinical qualities that are needed? What kind of person is best suited to be a counselor or a clinician? So we know that showing respect, being able to empathize, all of those things are extremely important. So counselors are the ones who are responsible for this alliance between the client and the counselor. Okay. So what is it that we're looking for here? The most important part of the initial interview is to gain an understanding of what the client's focus of treatment is. Not what ours, but what theirs is. So, once we have come to that agreement, the client and I come to that agreement, then we have a good place to start. Okay. There are times when clients are doing things that we know are not in their best interests. And one of those, of course, for those who are coming to substance abuse treatment, is they keep turning up with positive urine screens. Well, it doesn't do any good at all for the counselor to take an adversarial stand with this kind of behavior. In the past, I've heard counselors say, well, that's it. He's out of treatment. He keeps coming to treatment dirty. What is the problem with that statement? Treatment is supposed to help him develop the skills and strategies to remain abstinent. So, the client doesn't really know or care or want, in many cases, to stop using. So we have to learn how to interview in such a way that would motivate the client in that area. So going back to what are the qualities that a counselor needs, a good clinician. And what we know that some of the qualities we're looking for, as I said before, are empathy. The ability to identify with and understand another person's feelings and difficulties. Genuineness. Be able to have that honest and open ability in relationships with others. So be genuine. Respect is at the top of the list. A feeling or attitude of admiration and deference towards somebody or something. So, have you ever heard somebody say, man, that doctor, he was a cold fish, or that counselor, she was a cold fish? That's not what's going to get that client motivated. So, warmth, affection and kindness, fond or tender feeling towards somebody or something, being able to demonstrate that warmth. I had a counselor like that. I would go to see her, and it seemed as though her face lit up when she saw me. That made me feel so good. So I think about that when I first see my client. Am I demonstrating that look that she gave, that warmth? The other important qualification is immediacy, moving away from the contents of the sharer's problems and placing the emphasis on the process going on in the moment between the helper and the one seeking help. Right now, what's going on? So getting away from everything else and coming into this moment. Right. And then we have what we call concreteness. I'm not talking about the pavement. I'm talking about that ability to be specific. Certain and specific information, definitions, tasks, rather than being vague or general. So being able to hone in a descriptive sense that allows the individual to totally get it. And then the next one is potency. Successful, especially in producing a strong or favorable impression on people. How potent? Potency. Self-actualization is another important quality. The successful development and use of personal talents and abilities. How talented. Each one of our counselors here are extremely talented in different ways. Self-actualization. Being able to demonstrate those personal talents and abilities. I'm sure that you have those too. Understanding. That's a big one. Understanding. Stop judging. Seek to understand. A sympathetic, empathetic, or tolerant recognition of somebody else's nature or situation. Also, the ability to be transparent. Being open, frank about things. Several times I've had counselors say to me, should I tell them their diagnosis? Well, if you don't, how are they going to understand what the problem is and be able to do anything about it? So be completely open. Don't hide things. The other big one is being tolerant. People have different backgrounds, different points of views. They grew up differently. So accepting the differing views of others. It's not all me all the time. My way is not the only way. It's not the only right way. There's more than one. Be tolerant. The other one is being patient. Sometimes we say, my gosh, she's been here already 6 weeks. What in the world is going on? Patient. Able to endure waiting or delay without becoming annoyed or upset, or to persevere calmly when faced with difficulties. So hanging in there, being patient. Don't expect too much too soon. Another big one that we are going to learn much more about when we talk about some of the types of therapy is validating. Validating, to provide someone with moral support or inspire somebody with confidence. That's what we're looking for. Another really, really big, important point, quality, characteristic, flexibility. Being flexible. To provide somebody with moral support to the ability to change or to be changed according to circumstances. Your client has just set up their treatment plan. They're going to come to Monday night group, Wednesday night group, and Saturday morning group. You've laid it all out. All the agreements are made. Boom. All of a sudden, something shifts in that client's personal life and they can't do that. Are we going to hold them rigidly to that initial treatment plan? Or are we going to be flexible, bring them in, reevaluate the situation, and develop the plan to meet their needs? Now, I'm not saying that every time the wind blows, we just let it flow. I'm not saying that. But what I am saying is flexibility. What about curious? Curious, that's another big important quality. Eager to know about something or to get information. So when a client talks about something I don't get, I don't understand, I'm going to ask the client. I can research that. And in fact, a lot of my work involves researching things so that I do know what I'm talking about. And I remain curious because I certainly do not have all of the answers. Another big one is being open-minded, free from prejudice and receptive to new ideas. Free from prejudice and receptive to new ideas. Very important. How open-minded are we? And then clarification. Totally important. To make something clearer by explaining it in greater detail. That means I have to totally understand it myself. So that kind of goes back to the curious quality. I need to know what I'm talking about. If I don't, I say, hold up on that. I'll get that information. I'll get back to you on it. Be able to explain it in greater detail. Paraphrasing, very important. Be able to restate something using other words, especially in order to make it simpler or shorter. Sometimes I talk too much and too long. So can I just get to the meat of it? Paraphrase it? Reflection. Totally important. Careful thought, especially the process of reconsidering previous actions, events, or decisions. Being able to reflect on that. Giving thought to it. Reflecting on what's happened, what's been happening, that kind of thing, being able to do that. Another quality is being neutral. Not giving our specific attitudes and feelings ourselves, not possessing any particular quality or revealing a particular attitude or feeling. We have to be neutral because we are different people. Our clients, we have a background, they have a background, we have beliefs, they have beliefs. We have to be neutral. Okay. Now, there are some things that a good counselor, good therapist would avoid or try to avoid: making assumptions. Something that is believed to be true without proof, the tendency to expect too much. Stop assuming. We know what that does. Preconceived ideas, try to avoid that. These are formed in the mind in advance, especially if based on little or no information or experience and reflecting personal prejudices. The next one, biases. We have our biases. We have to be very careful of that. This is an unfair preference or dislike of something. I don't like baggy pants. I don't like sagging pants. When you come into my office, you pull your pants up. What's that going to do? Not helpful. Okay. So now I would like for you to go back and spend some time looking through the first several pages of your Clinician's Guide to Treatment Plans. And then we will start again. Thank you.